From Mexico City, it's round 13 of the 2005 season as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford.
For 7 months, we've witnessed the spectacular, embraced the drama, and taken a ride at the speed of sound.
Continues with the speed all day. Ryan Hunter-Reay hard into the outside wall. Tracy wins his fourth here in Milwaukee.
That's why we hired this guy.
Boom! He made a huge mistake. Tracy in command. Oh, he's blocking. Gets hit by Dominguez.
Hardly breaking the sweat for Sebastian Bourdais.
Sebastian Bourdais the winner. 4 wide. Contact. You can't protect the lead like that. What a day for Serbia. This has been a wild one.
He's going to get great. Guarantee you that.
2005 Champ Car World Series champion puts an exclamation point on the season with victory here at Surfers Paradise. This is Champ Car. We make legends. And true legends never fade away. And one of the greatest Champ Car stars of all time, Jimmy Vasser, 2 weeks short of his 40th birthday, about to make his 231st career start as the 2005 Champ Car World Series season is about to come to a close. It is a beautiful city, the biggest in the hemisphere, and again, a huge crowd has come to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mexico City. Huge crowd on hand. It's been that way all weekend long. A sun-splashed weekend of racing. These fans have seen a lot. The Grand Am Series here yesterday. You saw that on speed. And today, the 13th and final race of 2005 for the Champ Car World Series. The title's already been decided. Now it's a question of what happens in the rest of the top 10. One key question, does Jimmy Vasser return for another season behind the wheel and help PKV Racing continue to grow? Earlier, our Calvin Fish caught up with the 96 Series champion.
Well, with a stellar Champ Car career behind him, the big question on everyone's lips here as the season comes to a close is, will we see the return of Jimmy Vasser next year? First of all, Jimmy, have you made that decision? How has the decision been influenced by your recent run of success with 2 podiums?
Well, that has nothing really to do with it, and it's, any race car guy will tell you that it's tough to, even consider, giving up the wheel a bit, but honestly, we're just going to go into the off season and try to see what's best for the team. I don't think the performance is slacking, but it's really we have team issues. There's a lot of drivers out there. Might be a good opportunity for the right time for us, and so we're gonna make a decision probably mid-December. Honestly, for me, it's difficult, but I can go either way. I've had a great career, and certainly don't want to be one of those guys that hangs on way too long. And there's a lot of great talent out there, and but on the other hand, I know I'm on top of my machine now, and I could drive another couple of years. So. We're not trying to be coy or anything. That's really just the plan.
All right, mate. Whatever happens, it's been a great ride. Congratulations.
Calvin. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, Jimmy Vasser has certainly left his mark in Champ Car racing. There's a driver now really rewriting the history books. Let's go down to Jan Beekers with him.
And Calvin, of course, that would be Sebastian Bourdais, who had a dominant year this year. And at the last race in Surfers Paradise in Australia, on the streets down under, you clinched your 2nd consecutive championship. You've had a couple weeks to think about it. Reflect on the championship and how important to get it done before you come here.
Oh, it was pretty much done after Vegas because we only had to take the start in Surfers, so there was really no pressure. And it's the 2nd race of the season. We're coming here, just to go racing and don't have to be in the sinking, of championship or anything like that. So it was really appreciable, and we're just trying to beat these guys up front, but it's not going to be easy. I have a very good road course setup, and hopefully we can put the Magnus car in front of them.
Well, you can tell by looking at him, he is relaxed, and when he's relaxed, he's fast.
And Bourdais will come off for the second row as we take the green today. There is another series champion from 2005 in the field today. The Toyota Atlantic Series title holder, Charles Wolzman, makes his Champ Car debut. Calvin is with him.
He's making his debut, Rick, and he only got a chance to try one of these cars for the first time on Thursday. 750 horsepower beneath him. And Charles Wolzman, coming from Atlantics, how's the transition been for you this weekend?
It hasn't been easy, learning a lot in this weekend. And what it goes to that is really a good preparation for next year.
Okay, Charles, good luck as Charles gets ready for his very first start. Let's turn it over to a guy who's seen many starts in Champ Car racing with Jan Beekers.
As the crowd continues to settle in here, we were hoping to hear from Paul Tracy before we went green today. Tracy starts alongside Bourdais in row 2, and you know the rivalry there. We'll try to talk to Paul. Kevin Kalkoven wishing Jimmy Vasser all the best as we get set to go racing. We'll be back, getting close to the green in Mexico City. And by Ford and the new 2006 Ford Explorer, the best Explorer ever. The largest city in this hemisphere, Mexico City, more than 22 million residents. This is the monument to independence on Reforma Boulevard. It was constructed, the boulevard was, back in the 1860s. The Mercado, teeming with life, teeming with energy, teeming with commerce as well. And the Palace of Fine Arts, the home of the National Folkloric Ballet of Mexico. Moments away from the green flag, the season finale in 2005. The Champ Car World Series Championship standing. Sebastian Bourdais has clinched the title, as you heard. Oriol Servia clinches second today, with taking the green flag in just a couple of moments. Second, and the rest of the top 10 very much up for grabs. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. I'm Rick Benjamin. Derek Daly alongside to put a cap on what has been a wonderful 2005, really a season of resurgence for the Champ Car World Series.
And really few people could argue that. Again, we have seen one of the finest, most talented drivers ever to drive a Champ Car, Sebastian Bourdais, lock up his second championship. And with today's figures, more than 2 million people came out this year to watch Champ Car live.
It's really been a success at the box office, and we're glad you could be with us to see the final event of the season. Now let's open up Derek's toolbox. Third time this year that the Rousport mates have started together on the front row.
And are they up to the challenge? Now, there is no doubt these are part of the new breed of Champ Car team. And whenever they come to a racetrack, the Rousports team have Newman Haas firmly in their sights. That's their yardstick. Well, this weekend, led by Justin Wilson right there, they have had the speed to outrun Newman Haas in every one of the sessions.
Now, tires, it's very warm today, so tire strategy will be important.
I think tire management will be critical. Bridgestone have brought an awesome red tire here that's almost a second a lap faster than what they call the blacks. However, you have to manage them. If you punish these tires, particularly on a heavy fuel load, you may have them go off, i.e. lose grip towards the end of your stints.
And the fans here in Mexico City among the most passionate anywhere in the world, and they'd love to see one of their countrymen do well. That would be Mario Dominguez.
Will we see Dominguez delight? 2 years ago when he got on the rostrum, you could hardly hear the engines for the scream of the people towards the end of the race. If he gets towards the podium again this year, you will hardly hear anybody for the screams and support of their countryman.
Well, let's show you this place. 17 turns, nearly 2.8 miles, Derek.
This is an awesome layout here, built in the early 50s. It's almost 190 miles an hour down this long straight. Jump on the brakes down through the infield section. Again, 140 miles an hour down through here. Slowest corner on the racetrack coming up right there, about 50 miles an hour. And then you begin to accelerate. Third gear, up to fourth gear, through the S's. Very bumpy, very difficult through here. Fifth gear, continue to accelerate. Now you come to one of the signature corners of this racetrack, in through the baseball stadium. Turn 14, a lot of trouble there all weekend, and then you blast out again onto this long front straight.
Very fast, very challenging. The driver's eye view is amazing. We'll take a ride today with Mario Dominguez in the Index 7 car. He takes us on the edge at Mexico City.
Okay, we're starting a lap around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, Mexico City's best racetrack. My favorite racetrack ever. We're in 7th gear, coming up to the straight. At the end of the straight, we're pushing around 185. From 7th down to 3rd, 4th gears, coming into the Movistar Solana complex.
And you can hear Mario almost out of breath as he goes down through these S's here. This is turns 2, 3, accelerates again up through the gearbox. See the S's here, you can see the bumps as he manhandles this car over them, fights the steering wheel. Again, down one of these longs to 150 miles an hour, back to the brake zone.
coming up to the very fast Estes. Very bumpy left-hander. Long right-hander. Try to hit the apex at the exit of this left-hander. That'll make your lap pretty much better. Fourth gear, this is very fast left-hander. Try to get on the throttle as early as possible. This very bumpy right-hander. This is the fastest corner of the track. Sixth gear. Approaching the braking area down to second. Coming into the stadium complex. Very bumpy. Change from pavement into cement. Kind of like a Swiss circuit. Third gear again. Second gear. Right-hander. And approaching the start finish line. Sixth gear. This is the lap of the Autódromo Hermano Rodríguez.
And that is on the edge, a lap of the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez with Mario Dominguez. Our starting lineup today in Mexico City. Justin Wilson takes the Bridgestone Pole Award. He'll start in the top spot in the Intel number 9. His teammate, AJ Allmendinger, driving the Western Union number 10 for the Roof Sport Squad, will start in second position here. Second row, Sebastian Bourdais, 2 times the Champ Car champion now, and the McDonald's number 1 for Newman Haas. The Index Forsyth 3 car for Paul Tracy alongside.
Row 3 headed by the fastest man on the morning warm-up, the Bell Micro car of D'Amata. Dominguez in the Roche France car right beside him. Row 4, Servia, the Pacific Air car beside Nelson Felipe in the Wellbox Lola.
Moving to the 5th row, Rodolfo Levine, the HVM CTE car for the Corona Beer franchise here. Jimmy Vasser starts 10th in the Gulfstream Lola for PKV. Row 6, the Aussie Vineyards 15 for Alex Tagliani. Timo Glock for Paul Gentilosi's team. That's the DHL Global Mail number 8.
Row 7, another Aussie Vineyards car. Will Power's done a good job this weekend, as has Sperafico in the Sonny's Barbecue Lola. Ronnie Bremner heads up row 8, American Medical Response on the Rocket Sports car with rookie Michael McDowell, his second start.
In the 9th row, Andrew Ranger, the Bijack Tide Conquest machine. That's the 27. There's the Atlantics champion Charles Swolsman in the Aussie Vineyards number 25. And O'Mara Richards, his shotgun on the field in the Nextel CTE HVM 50 car. Richards from this area, and he gets a start today in the final race of 2005. Final couple of pace laps before we put the field under green today in Mexico City. As we mentioned earlier, Mario Dominguez will have onboard views for us. And the Roche France Index 7. And his situation for 2006 a bit up in the air, although indications are the Forsyth team would love to have him back next season. Timo Glock has our onboard cameras today as well. The Rocket Sports 8 car, the DHL Global Mail machine. He is the Roche France Rookie of the Year. He clinched that title a couple of weeks ago. And Glock beating Ronnie Bremer, Andrew Ranger, Bjorn Ferdheim in the standings for the season. Glock, by far, the first-year driver who was a standout all season long.
It was a good fight until about halfway through the season, and then Glock suddenly came on like gangbusters.
Justin Wilson has onboard cameras with us today as well. He'll start on the pole in the CDW number 9. Wilson going for his second win of the season. The victor at Toronto in that accident-littered event. Wilson persevered and bagged the victory there. Today could be his day.
It could well be his day, and the first 10 cars on the grid we know are on the softer, faster Bridgestone Reds because they don't want to get held up. From there back, you can take a risk because there's so much traffic. You may not make headway with Reds anyway.
So 19 cars will take the green, one of the biggest grids of the season. This is the baseball stadium complex. It's cement through here, Derek, and right before this, the turn 14 area that's been so treacherous, this has been a tough section of the track as well. Getting ready to go green here.
There's the red sidewall. See it on the left side.
That is Timo Glock's machine. Now let's listen. Final green of the season in the Champ Car World Series.
Green, 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 green.
What a perfect start.
Car put a wheel off into the dust there.
Watch D'Amata. He's been in trouble in the first corner so many times. This is a big, big funnel down here.
Allmendinger trying to get the drop on his teammate as they pour through turns 1 and 2.
Oh, this is good. Look at Allmendinger and Tracy side by side fighting the cars.
Wilson grabs the early lead. Allmendinger to second. Tracy settles into third. I was expecting fireworks with Tracy and Bourdais. They've stayed out of each other. Oh, Tracy goes off the runoff. Tracy was third. He goes off the runoff.
And 4, pit this lap.
Okay, that was Neil Mickenwright, so he believes there's something wrong with the car. Told him pit this lap.
So Paul Tracy trying desperately to bag a victory to close the season in the Index 3. went through a cutoff there that's been placed there for the NASCAR Busch Series.
And it looks like he's got a puncture. He has a puncture. Looks like the right rear, I believe.
Maybe the left front.
All set up and ready for you. Was there any contact with anything or no?
I think. Yeah. We're trying to get a good close look at Paul Tracy, but I think it's the right rear, which has then jacked up the left front. Can you imagine that? We thought everybody was clear. Oh, there it is.
He locked the brakes. Looked like he got bumped and took that cutoff area.
I think he got bumped by Nelson Philippe. Yeah, right rear is flat.
Yep,
right rear is flat. Here it is.
On board Dominguez, and there you can see the smoke. I didn't see contact.
I didn't see contact there.
So Paul Tracy, who was hoping to close out a frustrating 2005 with a victory,
look at Serbia.
in some trouble. Oriole Serbia making some moves early. Calvin Fish.
Tracy is in, as you can see, right rear damage to that tyre. Now, he may have had a bump. He was in close quarters there with A.J. Allmendinger. Maybe he cut the tyre down from that, and that caused him to go off. Seaman waiting patiently. Tyres are down. He's underway.
As Tracy leaves pit road for that unscheduled stop, and that puts him at the back of the field. He has not yet lost a lap. Our pictures today from our host broadcaster, our friends here at TV Azteca. They control the bulk of the cameras here in Mexico City. Top 2 positions belong to the Rousport team. Pole sitter Justin Wilson in his Intel car. A.J. Allmendinger in the Western Union 10 running in second. Oriole Serbia with some big moves. He was up to 6th last time by. Bourdais is 3rd. D'Amata rides 4th. And for Cristiano D'Amata, who's had problems on starts at a couple of street courses this year, just getting a clean start for D'Amata, very important. He has settled into 4th position. Derek, let's take another look at what happened here.
Just trying to keep a close eye. Tracy has already got his flat tire here in the brake zone. That's why he went down the escape road. So whoever he had contact with, it happened up at turns 1, 2, or 3. And I'm going to guess that it might have been, that's his wife, Patty. She is watching and suddenly realizes that this doesn't look too good at the early stage here. Poor Paul recently got married, moved from Vegas to Florida. There's the concerned look at that team. But Rousport's our lead story in our toolbox.
Absolutely.
Can they execute the race plan here, lap after lap?
A.J. Allmendinger in second. Jan, what are you hearing from their pit stall?
Well, you talk about execute. One of the things they had to execute, they had to change the gearbox on A.J. Allmendinger's car before the start of the race. They actually had to take a gearbox off of a spare car, one that was used by Justin Wilson in Australia. A mad scramble, brand new gearbox on that car. Obviously, things appear to be going well. Calvin?
Well, we saw Paul Tracy try to go down the inside of AJ on that first lap. I think this is where the contact may have come on this right rear wheel. See a little bit of damage there, but most importantly, this big cut. This is where he lost tire pressure and caused him to go off the road.
And what it is the wing end plate on the right and left side of these front wings. They are carbon fiber. They are literally razor sharp. And at those type of speeds, once you touch a driver or a tire, you will just slice it open. And Allmendinger, Rick, is beginning to reel in Justin Wilson here as they pretty much control this race at the front.
Wilson is the leader, 10 car lengths to the good over his teammate Allmendinger in car number 10. Bourdais, the season champion, runs in 3rd. 4th spot belongs to Cristiano D'Amata. We'll be back. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Mexico City. Final round of the 2005 championship season. I'm Rick Benjamin. Derek Daly is alongside. Calvin Fish and Jan Bikas are on pit road. 5 laps are complete. Race leader is Justin Wilson here in the Intel 9 car. 2nd spot to his teammate, A.J. Allmendinger, but one of the drivers everyone's concerned about, 2003 champion Paul Tracy with that cut tire, Cal.
Indeed, here at the Forsyth team with Neil Miglite. Neil, strategy now is a key for you. We've cut down a set of reds there. What do you do from here on out?
Well, obviously, losing that set of reds has put us in a pretty precarious situation, as well as being a half a lap down on the field. So we're quite eager to see there be a full course yellow, obviously, so that we can get caught up. We're just going to have to play it out and see. Obviously, the car's going pretty well now. He's running times that would, be right there with second or third place. So we'll catch up and just play the day out as best we can.
All right, mate. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
As we continue to ride with race leader Justin Wilson, have a look at what happened off the start here.
Tracy's on the right side of the screen. Now it's there's the move, one of the moves. We're just going to run this in slow-mo. Oh, no, there it is. There it is. There it is.
Did he get tagged by... that would have been perhaps Bourdais or D'Amata going by. You're riding here with Dominguez. As we look ahead from Mario Dominguez's index number 7. That was after the initial incident, it appeared. Back with the leaders. 7 laps of 70 complete here in Mexico City at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The Roof Sport team, Justin Wilson, A.J. Allmendinger, set to return with his team in 2006. Wilson the winner at Toronto. Allmendinger, a couple of runner-ups this year. Still looking for his first career victory. Former Toyota Atlantic and Barber Dodge Pro champion. Allmendinger in the Western Union 10. Runs in second spot. Bourdais, the season champion, in third. D'Amata and Serbia, the rest of the top 5. Cristiano D'Amata qualified 5th, has moved to 4th. Justin Wilson has had a very strong season, although the last couple of rounds in Las Vegas on the Oval, then in Australia, not his best performances of the year. Other than that, Portland, where he did not finish while leading, and Denver, where he had problems, it's been very strong. A raft of top 5s for Justin Wilson.
And as you look at the back of Justin Wilson's Intel car, the pop-off valve, which is the black round thing at the bottom of your screen, it's essentially bolted solidly to the engine, which is essentially solidly bolted to the chassis. Look at the movement of that valve and everything that flexes over these long, fast corners, particularly when you go over the ones. Just look at the movement of that pop-off valve. And of course, the pop-off valve determines the amount of horsepower the turbocharger makes. If the turbocharger tries to overboost the engine, the valve opens up.
Justin, just keep working that mileage. That was a good lap.
Great job, Justin.
+1 to AJ, about +5 to Bourdais.
That's the information given to him by Todd Malloy. Listen, you hear that? You hear that? The gear is too short.
Yeah.
He's on the rev limiter before he begins to back out. Wow, could that end up being a problem, Jan?
One of the things that Justin and AJ are doing, you heard him kind of doing a bit of cheerleading from the pits on the fuel numbers. They have been feeding both Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger the fuel target numbers that they want them to do. 2.1, 2.2 miles per gallon, which is a pretty conservative number. So the fact that they're keeping this distance from everyone like Sebastian Bourdais shows how fast they really are, because they're not really at full song. They're saving fuel.
And actually, they're pulling away. It's 5.2 seconds now from Wilson back to Bourdais in third. You can't see Bourdais anymore as we follow the 2 leaders. Again, our pictures today coming from our host broadcasters, our friends at TV Azteca here in Mexico City. Now, one change this weekend, Cosworth Power to Pass, the extra 50 horsepower that's on tap for each of the Champ Car World Series drivers with a button on the steering wheel. 3 minutes of power to pass time. Usually it's 60 seconds. We've seen some racetracks where the teams have been given 75 seconds. Well, here, because the front straightaway is so long, it takes 17 seconds just to get down the front stretch, Derek. They've given each driver 3 minutes worth of 50 horsepower extra.
Right, as they come through the baseball stadium, just look at the gap at the top of your picture. You cannot see Bourdais. And that is something very unusual. Bourdais had trouble on the first day trying to match A.J. Allmendinger. In the second day in qualifying, trying to match Justin Wilson, he went off at turn 14. So they have struggled in the first 2 days of practice and qualifying, as they are today. This is most unusual. There's Sebastian Bourdais in the McDonald's car. Rick, we don't see this that often.
No, but I think he can be patient here. Certainly he's got the championship in the bag. 6 wins in 12 starts here in 2005 for the now 2-time Champ Car champion. Sitting third, he cut 3/10 out of Justin Wilson's lead on the last lap. We're 8 laps into a 70-lap event today, and the McDonald's #1 of champion Bourdais probably in this first stint. We should see pit stops around lap 20 here. Things are probably going pretty well for him, I would think.
And he still resents the fact that he never got a chance at Formula One. A driver as gifted as he has been overlooked by all the European teams who are very familiar with Sebastian Bourdais. But there's at the back of his mind, there's still a little regret that nobody has picked the phone up and says, you know what, we recognize your talent. Why don't you come over here and jump into this Formula One car and really have a good test? Yeah?
Especially for a European-based.
Right, exactly.
Jan Beekes.
You're talking about regrets. They have a small regret down here on pit road for Sebastian Bourdais, and that's they cannot hear him on the radio. They can hear him speaking, but cannot make out what he is having to say. So they are feeding him fuel numbers, assuming that he can understand them, but he cannot respond back to pit road.
Maybe he's talking French.
Perhaps. All right, 9 laps, make it 10 laps on the board. Bourdais runs third. You're watching live. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. We're at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, the final round of the 2005 championship. I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside Jan Beekes, Calvin Fish joining us today on pit road. Packed grandstands everywhere here at the Autodromo, as is normally the case. More than 300,000 have come out over the 3 days to watch the Champ Cars in action, along with several support events. The Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series in competition here yesterday. Allmendinger now starting to chop into Justin Wilson's lead, Derek. 8/10 the lead now. Oh, car in trouble. That's Rodolfo Levine in the Corona beer car, one of the HVM CTE entries. Levine was running in 9th spot in the 55 car, looped it in the S's, keeps it running, and gasses it, gets right back underway. But Levine will lose many tenths in that incident.
And you can see the red sidewalls also on Levine's car. That is how you know whether there they are right there. Clear picture. Those red sidewalls are between 0.8 of a second to 1 second faster. This is
Glock.
Oh, he hits him. Does he hit him?
Glock went by on the inside. I think he ran Levine out of road on the outside there.
Here it is here.
I think Glock was crossing over in front of Levine. He didn't have anywhere to go.
It's hard to see what happened there, but definitely Levine got squeezed a little bit. Lucky he didn't go off onto the grass. He was able to keep that car rotating on the blacktop as Allmendinger he closes in.
4/10 of a second to lead. Allmendinger in the wake of his teammate's car. Justin Wilson in the Intel number 9. The two Rousport mates who started on the front row. Wilson in the red and white machine leads. Allmendinger in the yellow and white machine second. And Sebastian Bourdais now emerging in the frame as well. Bourdais 4 seconds back. Mario Dominguez rides 6th. His home country fans are on their feet for their favorite driver. We'll be back in Mexico City.
Number 16 on speed.
Back at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City with Derek Daly. I'm Rick Benjamin. Justin Wilson has led all the way, working lap 14 of 70 this afternoon at this stadium-sized racetrack. It's 2.8 miles around here. Runs through the baseball stadium. There's a football stadium close by as well. Battle for the lead.
Bourdais is going to be a lap before us, so let's just hang in there and keep working the fuel.
He thinks Bourdais will be in a lap before them.
Now that's unusual. Normally the Newman Haas mates have the best fuel mileage in the place.
Indeed. Jan, you have more on that?
I do. What's happening is the Newman Haas boys have been talking to Sebastian on the radio with fuel numbers, and the Rousport team has been monitoring their radios, and they know that their fuel numbers 2.1, 2.2 are much better than the 2.07 that they're hearing for Sebastian Bourdais. Now, that is assuming that everyone is telling the truth on the radio communications. If that is the case, the Rousport team is saving more fuel at the moment than Newman Haas.
Wow, as you see Justin Wilson bounce the inside front wheel off the ground here through these S's. Last season, the Rousport team monitored Wilson's radio when he drove for the MyJack Conquest team, because when they got interested in him, they wanted to hear what he talked about during the race, how he reacted, and his technical type of talk, and that cemented their belief that he was the man to join Allmendinger. And just look at what's going on here.
Bagged the team's first victory ever. That was in Toronto back in the middle of the summer. Allmendinger has finished second and has had some opportunities to win this season. Hasn't yet been able to close the deal, but he is closing in on Justin Wilson. Allmendinger's had a race car all weekend he hasn't been terribly happy with, but he's very quick at the moment, Derek. Tire strategy is going to be key here today.
I think it is, and we have the first two on these Bridgestone Reds. Again, you hear them on the rev limiter, but they are there. They're 1 second a lap faster, but you really have to take care of them, Calvin.
Well, we had the first 12 drivers on the grid start on those Bridgestone Reds, and as you mentioned, Derek, much faster. The real key to the strategy of this race is what they will do when they make their first pit stop. They only have 2 sets of these Reds each, and it's a 3-stint race. So the decision has to be made. Do you want to maintain the advantage you have over the field for the 2 guys at the front right now and try and stretch that out? The problem is if you do that and then you get a caution in that final stint and you're on the blacks, you could have someone right on your tail who has a much faster race car.
So when you use them and how you use them certainly will be crucial here today as we close out the 2005 Champ Car World Series season. As Derek mentioned at the top of the broadcast, more than 2 million fans have come out to watch the Champ Car stars in action. The 13th and final race of what has been a great season of rebound and rebuilding for the Champ Car World Series. Justin Wilson is the leader. D'Amata runs fourth. One of the announcements made by the Champ Car World Series this weekend in Mexico City. Next year, 15 events on the schedule. You may well know that. But the TV schedule has been announced. We're glad to say we'll be back on speed for 8 events next year with the Champ Car World Series, plus 4 on CBS, 3 on NBC. You'll see all the races. We'll re-air them all here on Speed, qualifying coverage. And, of course, the Champ Car Atlantics will return to Speed as well. If you'd like to know more, which races, start times, and so forth, champcar.ws or the champcarworldseries.com. The 2 website addresses you can use to get to the Champ Car homepage, and you'll find out all this information at your disposal. Justin Wilson continues to lead. We're riding with Timo Glock in the DHL Global Mail 8 car. Glock in 9th position. He's holding station. He started 12th, moved to 8th quickly, and he has been, or rather 9th, I should say, and he has been there for much of the last 15 or so laps. Working lap 17, Sebastian Bourdais knocked off the quickest lap of the race. There's Bourdais running 3rd, 2 seconds off the lead, but we're hearing that fuel mileage, John Beekes, may be an issue for Bourdais, and that's so uncharacteristic of the McDonald's team.
Yes, in fact, he called into the pit and said that he was having an engine problem, which obviously got the crew very anxious. The engine problem is related to fuel economy. In other words, when they gave him a target mileage number, he felt some hesitation in the engine. He had mentioned it a couple times throughout the weekend. So I don't think he's in trouble as far as a problem with the engine or finishing the race, but he just can't make the mileage. And I think they've figured out now, well, if we can't make mileage, go ahead and use the fuel and see if you can close the gap.
He's on the button. He's right up behind Allmendinger there.
And now the key will be, will the Rousport team execute and have the discipline to stay with the plan here? Bourdais, we know, will now probably stop fast or earlier than the 2 Rousport cars, so Bourdais is trying to make up maybe the positions and maybe pull a gap to at least save some time when he does peel off for this pit stop. But Rousport's still in control here. But look at these 3 boys here at the head of the field, looking like champions, every one of them.
Well, we told you a moment ago, 180 seconds of power to pass time is on tap. The extra 50 horsepower out of these Ford Cosworth turbocharged motors. Bourdais used more than anybody up front. He's already used 31 seconds trying to dive inside Allmendinger in the stadium section. He's up alongside for 2nd spot.
And that's where everybody had the trouble for the last 2 days. Brake zone for turn 14. But what Allmendinger did there is he actually braked too far to the left side of the racetrack, right side of your screen. He put a rear wheel in the dirt, the painted line first, then into the dirt, and he almost lost it. Lucky to keep that position from Sebastian Bourdais, who is now in his slipstream.
He is going to try perhaps to draft by. He was trying to make a move under Allmendinger into 1 last time. Doesn't do it this time. And Derek, last year, you'll remember that Bourdais won this race. He led all the way, but he spun there in turn 14 and never gave up the lead. He had a dominant run going, but he had trouble at turn 14. 18 laps are complete. This should be a 2 pit stop event. No pit window rule, obviously. We're hearing that Paul Tracy is about to make his first of what would be 2 scheduled stops here very shortly. This is the battle for 2nd. Season champion Bourdais right up behind last year's Rookie of the Year, A.J. Allmendinger. Allmendinger very much in the top 10 in points in 2005. Tracy is there, Cal.
PT hits his marks. They're going to res. This surprises me. I think the only way they can get back in this hunt is to do and rather run on the blacks and have the reds come going to spin if they catch a yellow. But that's the strategy they're going with. 9.1 second start for the Forsyth boys.
So the Forsyth Index 3 car, the 2003 Series champion Paul Tracy, back up pit road. The pit road speed limiter working to hold him to 50 miles an hour. As he crosses that line, he puts the hammer down and rolls back onto the speedway here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
That is Levine is just right ahead of him. He came out. Tracy has just been about a tenth or two off the pace all weekend long here. He was only 4th fastest in the warm-up. Wasn't really a factor for the pole. Even on his very best lap that he got caught with a red flag, didn't finish it. He still would not have made the front row. So Tracy, he's now still in last place, but he just hasn't been on the pace.
Top 3, problems. One of the Dale Coyne cars, that's Ronnie Bremer. He has stuffed the 19 car, the AMR machine, into one of the walls a ton here on the race course at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. So full course yellow for the first time today. It comes on lap number 20 of 70. The pits are not yet open.
Wow.
Bremer hit that wall a ton, Darren.
He has destroyed it. Look at that's the team. Ronnie, are you okay? Look at the debris they have to go through. I think that
Ronnie, can you copy?
The AMR team trying to talk to Bremer on the radio, but we could see him move. There's a little fire back there. He's got the headrest out. The steering wheel is off. I saw his hands moving.
This looks like a very similar crash to Del Monte. Fabrizio Del Monte ran on Thursday in the HVM car. Had a monster crash. Looked very like this. And I think it was at the same corner. Look at the fire. This is a huge crash.
The turbos, of course, located back there, and they're very, very hot. Probably a little bit of moisture there. Some debris being shoved aside. The Champ Car safety team right on the scene to help clean things up. Safety team 3, Dr. Rick Timms of Savannah, Georgia, Mike Carey, Roy Spielman, Mark Kester from Portland, Oregon.
Jan Beekes, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but does this now help Paul Tracy?
It was a fantastic move for Paul Tracy, and the fact that when everyone comes on the pit road, he will be able to close up behind the pace car and should pick up a lot of track position, assuming there's not too many lap cars that stay out.
So that's when the look goes your way. He just happened to come in.
One more look here, and you can see the aftermath after Bremer has already clouded the wall and the tire barriers, knocked the wing off. He hit hard on the right side, and it also did damage to the left. So he evidently contacted the wall both sides and spun completely around. But Bremer's out of the vehicle under his own power. He should be fine. And he returns to the HVM, the CTE HVM team next season. He's already signed to drive for them in 2006, finishing up 2005 for Dale Coyne's team, the American Medical Response number 19.
This is a 155-mile-an-hour exit in 6th gear as you come through that left-hander. That's why when you lose control there, you are going to hit the wall, i.e. the tires first, a ton. And I think Ronnie Bremner was stunned. That is why he did not answer the team as they called out to him to see was he okay. Brian Maw is his engineer.
We're being told that the pit road sign will open. Everyone will be able to come and make their stops this time by. So Tracy made a green flag stop. Everyone else has to make a stop under caution. And that'll vault Tracy to the front of the line.
Well, exactly. The chances are everybody will take advantage of this slow time. Now, it'll come back to haunt Tracy later on because he'll be in first. But right as of now, he can take full advantage on the bad luck he had on the first lap when he got hit. Yes, Jan?
Sorry to interrupt. The problem is that they haven't packed up fully. Paul Tracy's at the back of the field, but not everyone is packed up. He has a slow car in front of him, so he is not right behind the cars they're going to pit. He'd have to be right behind them and then pass them while they pit. But Paul Tracy is way behind, stuck behind a slower car.
Incredibly tough break for PT, who had that tire cut some contact in the first couple of corners. He's back behind Rodolfo Levine, who was his teammate a year ago in the Corona beer machine. Pace car is out. Linda Popes and Gail Truess wheeling pace car here today.
Looking at the top of the picture here, Levine is a long way behind.
Yeah.
Tracy will be up behind him, and he will be waving his arms to get him. But look, they're going to be under yellow here for a bit of time here. This looks like an airline accident.
Fortunately, as we mentioned, Ronnie Bremer appears to be okay. He had undone the seat belts, taken the steering wheel off, and removed the headrest all by himself. Track safety crew and the Champ Car safety team there to move the tire barrier back into place, and the debris cleanup is underway. Pit road should be open next time by. We expect Cristiano D'Amata, who is running fourth, to be among those to come to pit road first.
Ironic, his sponsorship all year has been American Medical Response.
Exactly.
When you see the Champ Car safety team pull up, and the experience they have and the years they have, it is a welcome sight for a driver who has a hit that big. Now let's watch not just these boys, but where will Paul Tracy be, Calvin?
Well, right now we're looking for Cristiano D'Amato. He's currently 4th in line. He'll be the first of the leaders to hit his pit box. He's going to go to reds. He's also going to have a slight front wing adjustment, a little bit of understeer. Looks like routine. Let's go down the yard.
And we're watching both the two Roost Sport cars. Of course, Justin Wilson did stop first, but ahead of him on the racetrack on pit road is A.J. Allmendinger. He gets a ton of front wing. Okay, we have the two Roost Sport cars, 1 and 2. Here comes D'Amato. So far, no position changes, and there's a problem for Sebastian Bourdais. He is still on pit road. He is somewhat, the car is askew. They're having a problem.
Roll this thing down, okay. Have a look at everything, guys. Start this thing up.
They put red sidewall tires.
Okay?
You're hearing Kenny Seawick.
Sam, come on, let's start this thing up. Okay, go, go, go.
So a huge loss of track position, but thankfully this is under yellow. Now Sebastian Bourdais has even more work to do.
How often do you see them make a mistake on pit road, Derek? Once an eon, it seems.
At the top of the show, our lead storyline was, can Roost Sport execute the plan? Newman Haas is their yardstick, and boy, is it beginning to fall apart for them, particularly for the McDonald's team. Craig Hampson on the right side, the engineer. Kenny Seawick, the team manager, on the left.
They are the champions, though, in 2005. We'll be back in Mexico City. Hey, tonight here on Speed, Wind Tunnel, and our own Dave Despain heating up the airwaves with scorching opinions, the biggest stars in racing. Dave fans the flames sometimes. It's Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain, 9 o'clock Eastern, exclusively here on Speed. Next week, our own Kevin Kalkoven, one of the principals of the Champ Car World Series and in PKB Racing, will be Dave's special co-host. That's 1 week from tonight on Wind Tunnel. Riding with Timo Glock, the DHL Global Mail 8 car, he will restart in 8th position. And there's been another important announcement made this weekend, a new commercial partner coming to Champ Car for 2006. Let's find out more. Here's Calvin.
Indeed, Rick. Very exciting news. Sherwin-Williams are on board for 3 years. Here with the Vice President of Marketing, Thomas Blitzel. Thomas, tell us about your participation with the Champ Car Series.
Thanks, Calvin. At Sherwin-Williams, we are very excited to be a long-term sponsor of Champ Car, Atlantic Series, and Pace Car programs. This represents a significant increase in our participation from the Grand Prix of Cleveland, so we're looking forward to it.
I know you're going to get the fans involved next year as well, which will be great.
Absolutely. Our objective is to add as much to the visual excitement of this great sport as is possible from paint. We're going to develop new products, and we've got an interactive, season-long, fan-based program that will select the best appearing car all year long.
Well, congratulations. We look forward to having you on board next year.
Thank you very much.
So Sherwin-Williams becomes the official finish of Champ Car starting in 2006. Still under caution as they continue to clean up after Ronnie Bremer's wreck on the backside of the racetrack in the AMR, car number 19. Now we're getting an indication that Sebastian Bourdais, who was third, had that problem on pit road. Bourdais at the moment shown 18th, and he may have to stop again before we go green. Now, he won't give up much track position by doing that. He's just in front of Bremer, who's not going to be classified here. Bremer behind the wall, his 4th DNF of the season with that hard wreck. So really, if Bourdais has to stop before green, Derek, he won't lose anything appreciably.
In fact, here he comes in. Yeah, this is a strategic move, unless they let something loose on the car, which I'm not so sure. Calvin?
Would you get here, Sebastian? Shut the car off. We will fill it. Guys, we need to change this ECU. Nice and easy now, Seb.
The reason they're changing the ECU was because of that mileage problem that they had previously. They're already running at the back of the pack, and they feel that they can easily change this ECU, engine control unit, essentially the brain for the actual Ford Cosworth power plant.
But they've got to take a lot of body work off, Derek, to get to that.
Boy, you secured the championship, and things went his way when it collapsed for other people earlier this season, particularly in Edmonton when he was way behind and everybody in front of him crashed or fell off the road.
We thought he had no chance there. He was 6th late in the race.
Suddenly he wins the championship, and then the bad luck falls their way.
The other reason that they're changing the ECU is on those parade lap, pace laps just now, there was fuel spilling out of the tailpipe of the car itself. So it wasn't like a minor fuel mileage issue. There was something very much amiss, which is why they're going to all this trouble.
So this is a bit like a chess game.
Do not start. Do not start. We're sending a program to the ECU.
Sending a program, that is software.
So they take the actual data that they want, the mapping, and now that it's received it and burned the ECU, got some high-tech stuff going on here in the McDonald's pit.
But like the chess game, we've now taken Bourdais off the board. Yeah. But Paul Tracy is back in the game.
Bourdais fires and goes back on the racetrack, still under full course yellow, still cleaning up after Ronnie Bremer's incident. We've completed 23 laps of 70 here in Mexico City. Bourdais will have to start from the rear when we go green. Now our Ford Built for the Road Ahead Spotlight. Ford has been a proud sponsor of the Champ Car World Series for this past season. They've been involved in many events surrounding Champ Car races all year long. Ford showed up in the communities where the races were taking place, such as in Long Beach. Many drivers took 2005 Ford Mustangs to Ronald McDonald House to visit with patients. Ford also helps introduce new folks to the exciting world of Champ Car, hosting Women's Day events at all 3 of the Canadian rounds. They had some of the top mechanical engineering students from the University of Colorado, Denver, attending the Grand Prix of Denver to meet several team engineers. Champ Car World Series weekends are all about the competition, but they're also about the event and the festivities. Ford hosted some great street parties, including this one in Montreal, where fans got up close and personal with their favorite Champ Car stars. Ford was also able to show off their great product, starting in Monterrey, Mexico. A ride and drive event. Folks got to test drive the Focus, the Freestar, and the Mustang on the racetrack. In Toronto, Ford introduced the new Ford GT. It was the pace car at all 3 Canadian rounds in 2005, and the Ford GT is now on sale in Canada. It's been a great season for Ford and Champ Car. Ford congratulates Sebastian Bourdais and Newman House Racing for winning the 2005 Vanderbilt Cup. Still under caution here at the Champ Car World Series, the Grand Prix of Mexico City. I'm Rick Benjamin with Derek Daly, under caution, first full course yellow of the day for a Ronnie Bremer incident. Preparing for a restart, Cal, and Paul Tracy's bunch must be pretty happy how this is shaking out.
Well, there's more smiles down here than before. Obviously, Neil Mickelroy, looks like things are coming back to you. You look for a yellow, you got it at the opportune time. What's the strategy from here on out?
Basically where we are now, we're pretty much back on schedule with everybody else. I think, they've probably got a couple laps more fuel than we do, with us stopping a little bit earlier. So we're just going to go as fast as we can and try and, stay up front and see what we can make happen.
Is Paul happy with the balance of the race car right now?
Yeah, I mean, even, towards before we actually came in and before the yellow, I mean, we were clearly the fastest car out there. He didn't want any changes. So I think the car's pretty good.
All right, mate. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And Paul Tracy will restart second behind Rodolfo Levine when we go green. Should be next time by. We're at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, Mexico. Final round of Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford, for 2005. I'm Rick Benjamin. Derek Daly is alongside. Jan Beekes and Calvin Fish covering the pit road action for us today. Mexico City, Mexico. If you'd like to know a little bit about what this is like, how about a tale of 2 cities, you might say. Compare Mexico City to New York City. 25 million, the population here, and they're packed into an area that is 1/6 the size of the greater New York area. The elevation, of course, is a key. 7,400 feet there, much higher than even in Denver. And that's forced Ford and Cosworth to make some changes in the engine mapping for these teams. It's caused a reduction in turbo boost and other things. And the car setup is different because the air is thinner here.
And you lose about 20% of your overall downforce. You also lose a bit of drag. You lose horsepower. So in general, these cars are just not as lively as you see them, but they still do 190 plus miles an hour down this long front straight.
Rodolfo Levine will be the restart pole sitter. First time a Mexican driver has led here since Adrian Fernandez a couple of seasons ago. Now our Bridgestone passion for excellence. Jan Beekes with Al Spire downstairs.
And we've been talking about the red sidewall Bridgestones, and they're softer, they're faster. You can see some pickup on the tire with Al Spire from Bridgestone. Al, taking a look, this is Justin Wilson's rear tire. What do you see as far as wear?
Well, the wear is quite good, Jan. Unfortunately, when the yellow came out and they slowed down, they get a lot of pickup on the tire. But we've peeled off that pickup here, and on this indicator here, you can see there's still a lot of wear left in this Bridgestone alternate. So we're quite happy with the way it's going. They're probably giving up a little bit at the end of the stint, but that's what makes it interesting.
But they're so much faster. A few people at the moment are out on the black sidewall tires. If it was you, what would you want to be on now?
Oh, I definitely want to be on the red Bridgestone Potenzas because being a second faster is a big advantage in the race.
All right, well, I think some people might want to be on it for the finish. Guys?
Al Spire, the director of motorsports for Bridgestone Firestone, joining us here this weekend in Mexico City. Looks like a green flag this time by. We're hearing that the Newman Haas team, the McDonald's one car for Sebastian Bourdais, may not be quite ready to take this restart green. They may have run out of time on the caution to make adjustments, though, Derek.
We're also beginning to hear the grandstands down the front straight here, because when their man, Rodolfo Levine, in the Corona Mexican-backed car, leads this field, they are just going to have another party. But Paul Tracy wants to spoil that, as we heard on the radio. He wants to get in the lead as quickly as possible, try and pull away a little bit of a gap from these Rousport cars.
Now Levine slowly bringing them through the S's. Still some time to go before we go green this time around. Let's get it back downstairs to Calvin.
Well, looking at the two leaders right now, they were teammates not so long ago, but I don't think Rodolfo Levine is going to be cutting Paul Tracy any slack here this afternoon. Neil Mickelwright said, remember the experience factor with the guy in front of you. Remember the fact it's a Mexican leading here in Mexico City. He's not going to give it up easy to Paul.
Justin Wilson and A.J. Allmendinger, who led the first bunch of laps. Wilson led from the pole all the way until the caution. 20-some laps before we went yellow here. He'll restart third in front of Allmendinger. D'Amata restarts fifth in front of Serbia. Last couple of corners, safety car will pull in this time, and the green will be in the air. Levine will lead him to the stripe. Let's listen in on Paul Tracy, hearing from Neil Mickelwright. Tracy to the inside for the lead.
And the Mexicans scream down the front straight here. Look at the two of them.
On the power to pass button, Tracy's got it. Levine dives to the inside. Hits the brakes and gets by Tracy. Listen to the crowd.
They absolutely went berserk. Oh, Tracy's on the curb. He breaks the front wing.
Tracy and Levine make contact. Tracy nearly gets into Wilson.
Levine has a puncture, I believe.
So Tracy's run Allmendinger off the road. Wilson squirts through and retakes the top spot. Tracy is second. Allmendinger, D'Amata now is fourth. Serbia's on the move. Levine got pushed out of shape. He's way off the pace. Levine took the worst of that.
When the locals see what Tracy did to Levine, he'll need a bodyguard to get out of here. But Tracy, I believe, has broken the left front corner off his front wing. Can he now run with these Rousports guys?
I'm sure we'll be able to go back and look. He knocked the upright off of the wing, left side of the race car.
He hit Levine, so he punctured, I believe, the right rear corner of Rodolfo Levine. Would not give up the position, hit the curb, bounced off the curb into Levine. Wow, that all happened within two corners.
So Wilson takes the lead again before another lap of green flag racing, wild racing back there. But remember now, Tracy nearly won at Toronto, missing an entire front wing. Let's go forward here on board Wilson. Remember, he restarted back in third.
Down the front straight. Now Levine is inside Tracy's toe. Goes down the inside. Brave move. Locks up the brakes. Locks up the brakes. Let's play it on. There it is. Oh, Tracy locks up now. Tracy comes back. Goes around the outside.
There's where they touched.
No, right there. There's the wing coming off. Levine is now punctured. He's a lame duck. Wow, Wilson barely got by.
Tracy yanked the wheel, and here comes Allmendinger getting run out of road.
Tracy ran Allmendinger literally off the road. Wow.
And we get word from Champ Car's officials, Tony Kottman, our race director. They're reviewing the incident on tape. Calvin.
Rodolfo Levine is in. There was a punch in right rear as expected. Great stop there. Great stop by the HVM boys.
Levine off pit road, giving up the lead in that battle with Paul Tracy in the first couple of corners. Levine fought hard and valiantly, but there was contact resulting in a cut tire. So Tracy got one of those. He was on the receiving end on lap number 1. He gives one back on lap number 27. So it's Justin Wilson back in front. Tracy minus that winglet on the left front corner of the car. He is second in front of Allmendinger. And we'll talk to Tony Kottman coming up. Welcome back to Mexico City, the Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Mexico City. Paul Tracy at the center of controversy yet again. He's been shown the black flag. He's going to have to take a drive-through penalty. Here's what happened as he got bumped there with Rodolfo Levine. Winglet came off the 3 car, and then Tracy turned to the left and ran A.J. Allmendinger out of racetrack. Champ Car's Vice President of Operations, Tony Kottman, with us on the headset from downstairs. Tony, thanks for taking a moment. You've penalized Tracy. What's the call?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate after he drove himself all the way from the back and got to the front, but to me it's pretty blatant, and he just tried running the 10 car right off the track, and that's pretty clear.
So you've assessed him a drive-through with the black flag, and here he comes down pit road.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So he's got to observe the speed limits in and out, and he'll lose a lot of track position here, but there's a long way to go in the race.
There's a heck of a long way to go in the race, and if Paul keeps his head about him, I think things will come back around his way.
Tony, was this a discussion or was this black and white in your book?
I definitely reviewed it because that's our policy. We definitely review before we make a decision like that, but it was pretty clear once I reviewed it.
Okay, good.
Tracy serves the black flag penalty, the drive-through penalty, comes back up onto the front straightaway. Tony Kottman, thanks very much for taking time to talk to us and give us your assessment of the incident involving Paul Tracy and the penalty for blocking A.J. Allmendinger. So Allmendinger vaults to second in the running order now, Calvin Fish. What's the situation at your end of pit road?
Well, down at PT's pit, obviously the drive-through penalty is a consequence of what happened between he and Rodolfo Levin. Michael Cannon, who's Rodolfo Levin's engineer, came all the way down and spoke to Neil Mickelwright to make sure that the officials were not bringing him in due to the contact with Rodolfo. They said that was just good hard racing. We have no issue with it. Just let us know if you need our help. So the teams are working together. They said it was good hard racing, but Tracy's move on Allmendinger just a bit too strong.
Watching the car of Oriol Serbia, the Pacific Air #2. He'll be second in the final championship standings after taking the green flag here today. He's come to fourth now in front of Mario Dominguez, Tracy's teammate in the Roche France Index #7. Next car in line, Timo Glock has moved up to sixth.
So we put Tracy at the back. Then we put Bourdais back to go fight with him. Then we put Tracy back to fight with Bourdais. I understand what Paul Tracy was trying to do, but he lost his momentum when he made the contact with Levine. Really, I know exactly what he was trying to do, protect his position, but it really was too much on the blatant side. He would have been better off let Allmendinger go by, tuck back in, take your medicine there and then, rather than have to have Tony Kottman say, here's the black flag, now you have a drive-through.
Well, there was some discussion between PT and Neil Mickelwright about whether they should take the penalty or protest. Tracy decided to come in, realizing there's more than half the race to be run. He comes back after the penalty. Tracy's only in the 16th spot, so he's not at the back of the field completely. He's in front of Rodolfo Levine. He's in front of Romero Richards. So Tracy with 20 seconds the gap now from the leader, Justin Wilson, and Tracy with 38 laps to go certainly has time to get himself back into contention here today. Riding with Mario Dominguez, the Roche France Index #7. Wilson is your leader. Allmendinger second, DeMata third, working lap number 32 here today. Glock in sixth behind Dominguez. Glock, the Roche France Rookie of the Year in 2005. Dominguez, one of the most popular sports heroes in Mexico. How about Jimmy Vasser? We talked about him at the top of the broadcast. His 231st career start today. He sits 8th right now, 12.5 seconds back of the race leader. It's been a phenomenal career for the 96 Series champion. Back in Mexico City on Speed with Derek Daly. I'm Rick Benjamin and Cedric the Entertainer. Thank you for coming up to stop by and join us today.
I had to come up and see you, man.
Your team was off to a pretty good start there for a while.
Yeah, we were in the lead for a minute there, just a second. But that's racing for you, right?
It is. Now, you went to Long Beach earlier in the year. You were with us when we were in Australia. What do you think of Mexico City?
Oh, this is great, man. This is, Mexico City's been a wonderful host. I had a ball since I've been here, and the race is dynamic. I'm having a good time today.
I know every day you've been here, you've had the headsets on, you've been down in the pits listening. This is addictive, isn't it?
Yeah. You have to listen to the engineers and see everything that's going on, always going on with the car, listen to the driver. So this is real addictive. I keep the headset on the whole time.
Did you learn anything?
Yeah, I got a few things.
Stay out of the way?
Exactly. That's the big thing.
Now, this new partnership that you put together with HVM a while back, looking ahead to 2006, what can we see from the CCE HVM team?
We're looking at really excited, bring on some big name sponsors and then some great drivers there. That's the main thing we're working on as a team is to get some top drivers and bring some big names and light to the sport. That's what I'll do, bring my celebrity.
We're going to do some commercials?
We're looking at it. I got a couple of good ideas, too.
I bet you have.
I was trying to tell Kev Coquitlam, I got a couple of good ideas for some commercials. So
all the projects you have going and you're busy all the time, I know. How do you find time for something like this?
This is great. This is a fun thing to relax and, for me, it's really recreational, so I'm having a good time with it and got movies coming out and going to host the American Music Awards. It's good, man.
And his son had a birthday party recently.
Yeah.
He brought in go-karts
to
play with. So he has the bug.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing you on track next year, Derek.
All right.
Cedric, thanks for being with us.
All right, thank you.
Best
so
of
much.
luck to see you.
All right, good, man.
Cedric the Entertainer
All right.
joining us topside. Let's get you caught up on the action. Sebastian Bourdais trying to work his way back toward the front. Jan Bikas, what's happening up front of the field right now?
Well, it's really interesting. You've got all the top guys, I should say top 3 on the red sidewall Bridgestone, but then don't forget about Serbia, Dominguez, Glock, and Nelson Philippe. That is 4th through 7th are on the black sidewall tires. So if it were me, I would want to put my final set of reds on for the final stint. All those cars will be able to do so. The leaders will not.
Well, we are halfway as we watch Bourdais now sitting in 11th position. Still Wilson and Allmendinger your leaders. D'Amata, Serbia, and Dominguez. Rest of the top 5, 3.9 seconds the gap between Wilson and Allmendinger.
And that's an interesting point, Jan, that you bring up, because Serbia ran at 30.9. Allmendinger and D'Amata are in the 30.3, 30.6. It's only Wilson on that last lap. Again, as you see Bourdais go wide at turn 14. But so Wilson is not running away here, despite the advantage of those softer, faster Bridgestone red potential.
As we ride with race leader Justin Wilson in the Intel 9 car, gunning for his second victory of his career. In Champ Car, it would be his second win in 2005. We are past halfway. We'll be back.
You're watching Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford.
Back in Mexico City, this is the Palace of Fine Arts, completed in 1934. It is the Opera House in the city of Mexico City, the home of the National Folkloric Ballet as well. One of many historic buildings that folks come by the millions to see here in Mexico City. 22 million residents in this area, one of the most populous cities in the world, and a beautiful city with lots of history and lots of great restaurants. We've enjoyed much of the local flavor here the last several days. Riding with Timo Glock, who runs 6th for Paul Gentilosi's team, but Ronnie Bremer brought out the big full-course caution earlier. Calvin, what happened to the 19 car?
Well, there's a massive crash there for Ronnie Bremer here with Dale Coyne. Dale, what's the situation with Ronnie? How's he feeling?
The medical called in, said he was okay. They're just checking him out. He was getting out of the car right away, so it's a shame. He had a really good start. He jumped 5 places and got up to 10th. And I think he locked him up going into 1 and got wide one time. And it looked like his tires were never the same after that. So I think he was just trying hard.
Did he just get wide there coming through that turn?
It looks like it. The car was kind of wiggly after a while. I think his tires had gone off after the incident in 1. And he saw McDowell and was closing in on him and just a little too much there.
Thanks, Dale. The good news is Ronnie's okay. The bad news is he was 10th in points. He's probably going to get that overhauled here before the end of the day. With D'Amata running well, he currently sits 11th in points.
Heavy damage to that race car as well. Dale Coyne's team will be back at the drawing board in Illinois over the winter, trying to put that AMR 19 car back together for the 2006 season. A.J. Allmendinger running second, 4.5 seconds back. Sebastian Bourdais in the McDonald's car, meantime, moving around Andrew Ranger, smoked the brakes down into turn 1, ran out of road there, and Ranger went right back around him.
And that's 2 offs in the last 3 or 4 laps. It just shows you when you have to mix it from the back, it is a whole different kettle of fish than when you have clear road. So Sebastian Bourdais absolutely has his work cut out for him now to make it up. He's in 11th place right now, not even in the top 10. Ranger is 10th.
Bourdais with that mechanical problem. They changed ECUs on pit road a while ago. That's the computer basically that controls all the engine functions. They had to reprogram the new ECU or program it before they could fire the car and send Bourdais back out. Little wiggle off the final turn there. He's on the Bridgestone red potentials, the stickier tires that are about a second faster. Although in Bourdais' case, he and his teammate Oriol Servia, generally their cars don't gain as much on the reds as the rest of the field does because generally their cars work better.
They do. They are the most balanced cars. And it's interesting. I had a little chat with Carl Russo, who owns the Roo Sports cars, and he said obviously their yardstick is this team here. On the low-frequency bumps that you have here at a racetrack like Mexico City or another permanent road course, low-frequency bumps, Roo Sports are very good. Where they fall down is the high-frequency bumps of street circuits. And Sebastian Bourdais and this Newman Haas team with Junqueira and Servia this year have been very good at street circuits. Next year, that's what Roo Sports wants to work on and wants to come out of the box at Long Beach absolutely on the pace with this team here, because this is still the benchmark. This is the great team.
Back-to-back championships for Sebastian Bourdais and the McDonald's 1, the Newman Haas team.
First time in their 20-plus year history of the sport that they have won 2 consecutive championships. As we take a look at the team on the pit box, Bourdais with 6 wins in 12 starts. Serbia with his first career win at Montreal, 7 podiums as well. And Bruno Junqueira still recovering from his injuries suffered in Indy. The victory and a couple of podiums for Junqueira. Second spot in the points to Serbia by taking the green today. Wilson there with Rodolfo Levine behind him. Wilson is the race leader. Levine just got lapped back in 18th spot. He had led back off the caution for Ronnie Bremer. Got passed by Tracy in that incident down in the first couple of corners when we went back to green. Levine with a cut tire had to come to pit road again. That dropped him off the pace.
As you see, Wilson lead here in the Intel car. You mentioned Bruno Junqueira. Bruno is here. He is here. He's very good friends with Serbia. Serbia on his car still carries Get Well Bruno. Bruno itching to get back into one of these champ cars. I believe in November they're going to put him in for a test. And we are hearing that Newman Haas does not want to lose Serbia. So
might be 3 cars.
Might be 3 cars next year for Newman Haas if they can pull it all together.
And we're also hearing that the Forsyth team may go back to a 3-car effort next season. They'd like to keep Mario Dominguez in the fold, along with Paul Tracy, who is re-signed for 2006. Justin Wilson has the pole here today, this weekend. He led from the start, lost the lead during pit stops and during that caution round, but got back to the point. And Wilson is the race leader by 4 seconds over A.J. Allmendinger. Let's take it full throttle around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez with Wilson.
Third gear. Slowest corner of the racetrack. Right here. Second gear. Third gear. Now it gets faster. Short shift. This is where Bremer crashed. Right side.
He's on the rev limiter again, though.
Turn 14. That's where all the trouble has been all weekend. Concrete.
Wilson, one of the drivers who had trouble there earlier in the weekend.
Second gear, second slowest corner. Oh, correction.
Great job, Justin. We're 7 away. Just keep taking care of the car. We're over +5 to AJ now.
7 away. I would assume that means they'll be pitting in 7 laps. That would be lap 48 for Wilson here. Todd Malloy is engineer on the radio. Wilson with a 6.5-second lead now. He is adding to the lead over Allmendinger with clean racetrack in front. Let's check in on Oriol Serbia, Mario Dominguez. They are 4th and 5th, and they've been fighting hard for 4th spot. The gap is less than a second between Serbia in the Pacific Air 2 car and the Roush Franz Index number 7. You're riding here with Dominguez. Had that 3rd place here a couple of seasons ago.
And this is for 4th and 5th. The black sidewall tires, they are slower, so Dominguez and Serbia will look to the last stop where they go on the faster red tires to make up time. And can Dominguez get to the rostrum? Calvin?
You're exactly right, Derek. They're just trying to stay in touch. They're losing about 7 or 8 tenths per lap to D'Amata. Spoke to Dominguez's team. They said they tried to go full rich on fuel but didn't really gain any lap time, so they leaned it back out again. They do have a fresh set of red tires. They go on there. What they're really praying for, Serbia and Dominguez, is a yellow where the whole field is bunched up. The front runners would be on blacks. They'd be on red Bridgestones. They'd have a big advantage there.
Well, if they stop around lap 48, that would mean 22 laps to the finish. You could take slightly less, perhaps, than a full fuel load. Maybe save a little wait and time on pit road. Dominguez rides in 5th spot. He ran 2nd at Denver, his best finish of the season back in August. He's had a couple of 4ths, a couple of 5ths to go along with that. 4th at Las Vegas on the oval back in September, but 18th and did not finish in Australia a couple of weeks ago.
And the one thing you can't do is throw the whole thing into the bushes, because then it's all lost. On this track here all weekend long, we have seen driver after driver make mistakes, particularly in the brake zones. So as Dominguez makes his way through with these black Bridgestones, the one thing he has to be disciplined and do not make a mistake and throw away 2, 3, or 4 seconds of time, or throw away the car, make contact with something.
Got a long way to go in this one. A couple things we want to point out to you. First of all, our pictures from our friends today at TV Azteca. They're the host broadcasters here in Mexico City as we continue to watch Serbia and Dominguez 4th and 5th. Nelson Felipe very quietly has worked his way to 7th. His final run of the season for the MyJack Conquest team, the Wellbox 34. Talked to Felipe this morning. Fully expects to return to Champ Car next season. Nothing set yet with the MyJack Conquest team for either he or Andrew Ranger, although both those young drivers are certainly favorites to retain those seats come 2006. Sebastian Bourdais has moved up to 9th in the running order. He's gotten by Andrew Ranger and Alex Tagliani. He and Paul Tracy working their way through the field. For a moment there, Tracy and Bourdais were just about nose to tail. They were sandwiching Michael McDowell. Tracy, though, still 13th. Bourdais is climbing. He's up to 9th and on the move now. He's 29 seconds behind the race leader. Continuing to watch this race for 4th spot. Serbia there in the Pacific Air number 2 has the position. Dominguez 5th. Timo Glock back in 6th. And Glock is about 3.5 seconds behind these two as we work to complete lap number 44.
And Serbia will tell you, because he has made it known here, he just doesn't get on well with this racetrack. For some reason, he just can't put it all together. Even in his qualifying laps, he wasn't really happy with what he did.
On board with Timo Glock running in 6th position. Glock was 6th also in Australia. We're watching the Champ Car World Series. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. The Champ Car Grand Prix of Mexico City. Final round of the season in 2005. I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside Jan Beekes, Calvin Fish on pit road. Let's show you what we've seen in the first, not quite 2/3 of this one. Off the green, an all-Rousport front row. Justin Wilson was the leader. 2nd spot, A.J. Allmendinger. Rodolfo Levine fighting hard for position there with Timo Glock. They got together. Ronnie Bremer brought out the only full-course yellow of the day. A huge hit into the tires. Bremer's okay, but the 19 car very heavily damaged. Sebastian Bourdais, the season champion, 2nd straight here. They had to bring him to pit road twice to change ECUs. Paul Tracy, Rodolfo Levine off the restart side by side. They fought hard for the top spot. Contact. The front winglet came off Tracy's car. It cut Levine's tire. Tracy was penalized for this move as he took A.J. Allmendinger nearly into the grass. Tracy had to serve a drive-through. He gave up 2nd spot. He currently sits 12th. And off that jumble, Justin Wilson got the lead back. He restarted 4th. He jumped to the lead. He's been out in front ever since. It's been a very strong day for Justin Wilson, Jan.
It has been a great day for Justin Wilson and for Rousport in general, but for A.J. Allmendinger, he's struggling a little bit. He has push or understeer, which is amazing considering when we saw his pit stop, they cranked in what looked like about 3 turns of front wing into that car. It's still pushing. Justin Wilson, however, is very happy and will be pitting 1 lap later than A.J. Calvin?
Paul Tracy comes in, the first of the potential winners here today. Make their pits, though he's got a long way to go. Remember, he's only got a set of blacks left here. He's just inside the window. It's going to be a 26 lap stint to get him to the end. He takes a swig of water, look at the full fuel load. He's underway. 9.4 seconds for Paul Tracy's pit crew.
And he's got to do it on the Bridgestone Potenza blacks, Derek. They may be a second a lap slower.
So Paul Tracy now needs a yellow flag somehow to slow everybody else up, Jan.
That's exactly what he had done last time, Derek, was they pitted at the first opportunity of the window opening, then they hit the yellow. So they know they need another yellow to leapfrog the field once again.
Got a glimpse there of the Nextel 50 car, Homero Richards from Mexico, making his first career Champ Car start. In front of the home fans, Richards shown 17th. Wilson continues to be the leader. Allmendinger 2nd, 6.9 seconds back. D'Amata and Serbia, good battle for 3rd. They're about 3/10 apart last time by. Then Dominguez, Glock, and Felipe.
Wilson looks like Bourdais did many times this year. I mean, this team are on top of the game all this weekend long, to the delight of the 9 people who have come from England as part of the Justin Wilson fan club. People who invested in his career to put him into Formula One. They come here, they've been here 3 times. Oh, look at Dominguez down the inside of D'Amata. Can he make it?
Going for 4th spot. Cristiano D'Amata was quickest in the morning warm-up. Dominguez to the inside. D'Amata trying to hang with him, can't do it. Dominguez in the rush for 7 makes the pass.
And you can hear the crowd. They sensed he was going to pull that off. Grandstands are packed down their turns 1, 2, and 3. So Dominguez still has a faster set of reds to come up here, and Servia also made his way past Cristiano D'Amata.
So they run third and fourth. D'Amata shuffled back to fifth in the order in front of Block.
So Servia obviously has a bit of trouble here. He's lost 2 positions in the last 2 laps. He is in hang-on mode here. Again, see the
little brake block up there.
Levine.
Servia got up on the curb, and we saw the tire smoke. Now Levine's a lapped car. He led a few laps earlier off the caution, but he may well be holding these cars up.
But Dominguez wants that position. That would be the rostrum. That would be the podium position if he can find his way past Oriol Servia.
25 laps to go at Mexico City. Here's Servia bolting to the inside of Levine. He wants to get by the lap car. Dominguez will do the same thing. Heading to the stadium curve.
Oh, he's right behind him now for the run down the long front straight here.
And you know the fans will be on their feet urging their countrymen on here in Mexico City.
Oh, this is good.
Servia wiggles the car off the final corner.
Can he get a good run? Everybody cheers, and look at the people in the grandstands.
Bridgestone handed out thunder sticks by the thousands here today, and you can see those white flashes as the fans wave them at Dominguez. Here he is, inside, going into turn 1. No, he can't make the pass.
But he wants to.
Cristiano D'Amata makes that pit stop. Once he lost that track position, Jim McGee made the call. Get him in here. Black tires. He will not be as quick as Dominguez in this final stint. They're just going to hope for a break here. Black tires, 7.1 seconds.
Timo Glock coming off pit road with reds in front of D'Amata.
Lean on it. Get these tires up. Go.
The call to D'Amata, get the tires up to temperature. And go, go, go. Watching Dominguez trying to track down Servia. Servia with a good run to third. He's been very patient, Jan.
And an amazing development here on pit road. Servia has just called for the black sidewall tires. He had red sidewall tires ready to go, which we thought would be the hot setup. Instead, he has called and asked for sticker set of black sidewall tires for his final stint.
So Servia in third spot, 24 laps remain. This may be the best race on the track for third. Dominguez right in Servia's tire tracks. Dominguez has a lot of extra incentive here, doesn't he, Dan?
Absolutely. There is a huge amount of support here for Mario Dominguez. There are huge banners all over the city here with Dominguez in Bridgestone tires. They've had a citywide promotion here. Now he goes into the podium position. And although it might be temporary,
Servia to pit road. The Pacific Air 2 car will change tires.
Hit your marks. Open approach to your box. 4 tires of fuel.
Jan is there.
And you'll see right away that they are going to be going for the black sidewall Bridgestones. And that is only a case where Servia called in and said that he liked these better.
Wow.
Long time on the fuel, 10.4 seconds, but a shocking development. You would think they're ready to be faster. Calvin?
Well, Alex Tagliani makes his hopefully final pit stop of the day. Red set of tires going on there. He'll be fast. This is the first time that this team has run the long wheelbase on this Lola chassis. They believe it's an advantage, but difficult to get worked out on a very short weekend here in Mexico City.
23 laps remain. Justin Wilson in the Intel 9 continues to lead. We're showing you Cosworth power to pass numbers. Top of your screen, the extra 50 horsepower. 3 minutes worth given to all these teams. Wilson and Allmendinger still have more than 2 minutes.
Overtake, please, Justin. Overtake this lap. You will pit this lap. Pit, pit, pit. Copy.
So Wilson will be headed to pit road next time around. He'll go 27 laps on this second stint, and he'll only have 21 remaining in the race, so they can short fuel him, lighten up the car. Allmendinger headed your way, Jan.
And he will be going to black sidewall Bridgestones because he has no choice. He's done his first 2 stints on red. Remember, the car has been pushing. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to add even more front wing, which they had just poured into the car last time during his stop. The good news for the black, and sure enough, wow, 1, 2, 3, a lot of turns on the revometer. A quick stop, but again, we'll hope that that was enough front wing for A.J. Allmendinger. That was a ton.
Couple of huge chassis adjustments, or wing adjustments actually, which affects the chassis. Now Nelson Felipe had cycled to fourth. He'll go with the Bridgestone Potenza Reds, the stickier tires on the Wellbox 34 for the MyJet Conquest team. Felipe is down and away. Final stop of the day. Stops coming under green. Jimmy Vasser off pit road as well.
And they gave Nelson Felipe some front wing also. But as you see Vasser and Felipe pull out, the key to this podium position may well be Dominguez on red tires for his last stint.
Dominguez cycling to third. Allmendinger, despite the green flag stop, he gave up a lot of track position to race leader Wilson, who's headed to pit road this time by. Wilson off the final corner.
The pit box in front is wide open.
On the gas, on the brakes, and here he comes slowly. Speed limit in place.
Put it on the marks. It's going to be about the same as the last stop in terms of time. You're going to be going out on brand new black tires. Once you're out of pit lane, I want you to use overtake. On the marks here.
And you'll hear them saying to use the overtake button. Of course, that's the Cosworth power to pass. We usually think about using that to pass, but they have asked him to use it on his out lap and his in lap. Quick stop for the leader, and let's get to Calvin.
Well, Mario Dominguez comes in. He's got a great run going here this afternoon. He's one of the few leaders to have a center reds left front wing adjustment, understeer limitation all afternoon. Great stop there. Heading down pit lane, he's looking for another podium. He had one here a couple of years ago.
All of this cycles Sebastian Bourdais to second spot, but Bourdais should need to make one more stop as well.
But nobody here cares, because this Roche-France backed car is the one everybody in the grandstands here has their eye on. I don't know whether they understand that these red tires are going to be a big advantage to Dominguez, but this could be the difference between a podium position for their national hero here if he can really get these things up to speed and have balance with these cars and make use, because these red Bridgestones are just plain faster.
Green flag stops to settle things today in Mexico City. Final round of the 2005 Champ Car World Series season. Justin Wilson maintains the lead. Sebastian Bourdais cycling to second. Now Bourdais has burned almost all of his 3 minutes of Cosworth power to pass time. He's got just 24 seconds left. He's 24 and a half seconds behind Wilson, but Bourdais still needs to stop. Allmendinger should go back to second. Dominguez should go back to third. 7 seconds the gap between Allmendinger and Dominguez last time by. Watching Dominguez here. Roche-France on the 7 car for the first time this weekend for the Forsyth Index team. Serbia 5th after his stop. Glock is 6th, Damata and Vassar 7th and 8th, Nelson Philippe and Ricardo Spirifico rounding out the top 10 for Dale Coyne's team. Here comes Serbia in front of Glock, and the McDonald's cars on pit road. Jan Bikas is there.
Look for Todd right on the mark. Nice and easy on your approach.
He's had some trouble with his drink bottle. They're not going to give him any water. They want to have a quick stop for Bourdais. Of course, this will be a killer for track position. Just got to try and make it as quickly as possible. They shouldn't need quite as much fuel as some of the other cars.
Go, 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 go.
10 seconds even, so he picked up a few tenths of a second. But as you can see, the car's streaming by. A big loss of track position.
Bourdais on the black Bridgestone Potenzas for the final run here today. All of this, Justin Wilson, he's out there counting the crowd at this point.
Right, but the key picture right before we went to Bourdais is that we saw Serbia was actually behind Dominguez. So Dominguez went longer and actually gained position on the track during the pit stops. Dominguez is on the podium as we speak, if he can just hang on and keep this type of pace.
Justin Wilson has led much of the way here today, bidding for his second career victory. And Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. The Intel CDW9 car has not put a wheel wrong. His teammate A.J. Allmendinger still looking for his first career win. About 5 seconds back, Bourdais hangs on to third.
I heard that sound a mile away. I heard that sound a mile away. All those things I wish that I could say. I heard that sound a mile away, a mile away.
Welcome back to Mexico City, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez final round of 2005's Champ Car World Series. To wrap things up, I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside Jan Bikas, Calvin Fish on pit road. Final pit stops are complete. Lap-wise, we are 18 from the checkered flag and the wrap-up to the 2005 season. It has been a dominant day for Justin Wilson. Gave up the lead only during his first pit stop. During the Ronnie Bremer incident, the long caution to clean up the mess after the AMR 19 whacked the wall coming out of one of the corners of the second complex of S turns on the backside of the racetrack here. But Wilson has been superb today.
And I don't want to jinx him, but Intel must be lucky for him, because the first time he put it on, he almost won, having dominated Portland. Then he went out and won in Toronto, has it on again today, but this is a great fight here because Glock, Timo Glock, former Formula One driver, scored a point in his very first Grand Prix at the Canadian Grand Prix in the Jordan. He is trying to spoil the party.
Yeah. Dominguez hanging on to third. Glock putting a lot of pressure on him. The gap 8/10 the last time by with 17 laps remaining.
Glock has done this before. He just comes on strong at the end of these races. And of course Rocket Sports, one of the teams who kept the red sidewalls. See it there, inside, they're red inside and out. Glock hanging on here. This is where the fight is right here.
When you can see the guy you're chasing, that really puts the fire in your belly.
Absolutely. This is a great run for this team.
Jan Beekes is with team principal Paul Gentilozzi.
And he's watching the monitor while he's talking to us. Timo's really out of charge. How's the car?
Well, he's got a really good race car. The engineers had a great strategy. The guys did 2 really good pit stops. He's got a lot of push to pass left, and he just set fastest race lap, so we'll hang on.
Now, as part of it, you saved one set of red sidewall Bridgestone to just scuff with 1 lap. Is this that set?
They were stickers. We didn't even scuff them.
So is that, you think, going to be an advantage now?
That's the best tire we got, and they were good on the lap out.
All right, so saving tires in qualifying might pay.
Here he comes, ready to make a move for third. Glock about to dive bomb Dominguez. No! He has to back out of it.
Man, I thought he was going to make it there. That was as close as you get. But you see, he didn't make the kamikaze move.
Yeah.
He realized maybe I can't pull this off, and he just backed a very mature move by Timo Glock.
Well, the key may be, as Paul Gentilozzi pointed out, Cosworth power to pass. Glock has still got more than 2 minutes worth in the bank, where Dominguez has got, 68 seconds. So Glock's got a couple of squirts of the button that he can use to try to get third here before we close things out.
And Glock's lap the last time was 1/10 of a second faster than the leader. They're pretty close, Calvin.
Well, down here at Rodolfo Levine's pit, and this is Craig Kessner. He's made the long walk down pit lane to ask Mike Cannell for some help. Mike Cannon engineers Rodolfo, and Craig is just saying, listen, we've got a fast race car. We need to get it to the front. Don't hold us out.
Bourdais in 7th right now, 34 seconds back. He's only got 8 power to pass seconds remain in his bank. So Bourdais about out of tricks here today, trying to win 7 in 13 tries to cap off his championship year in 2005. Things have not gone Bourdais' way, but no pressure. They already had the championship in the bank. How about Glock? There's the gap in front. That is Dominguez in the 7 car running in 3rd. That's about a 1/3 of a straightaway as they race by our location here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Timo Glock had a 2nd at Montreal. Looked like he might have won. He was penalized for shortcutting the racetrack. Wilson's lead, almost 4 seconds over his teammate Allmendinger. We'll be back in Mexico City.
You're watching Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford.
One of the signature scenes of Mexico City, the Monument to Independence. They call it the Angel. The boulevard here constructed back in 1864 by Emperor Maximilian. The former boulevard is where the Angel is located, the Monument to Independence on that traffic circle. Glock on the inside. Oh, contact! He gets into Dominguez. The DHL car, Glock goes through. Dominguez was running 3rd. Glock back on the racetrack. Dominguez with damage on the 7 car. Maybe damage on the DHL 8 car. Dominguez is dead in the water. Oh, no!
I can't believe that just happened.
He's on the racing surface, too, so that will be at least a local yellow and full course caution for the 2nd time today with 13 laps to go. The Roush Zindeck team, unbelievable, shaking their heads. The crowd has just exploded in anger and excitement here in Mexico City. Champ Car safety unit on the scene. Dominguez is fine, but he and Glock tangled going in.
And that is right in front, Rick, of some of the biggest grandstands at turns 1, 2, and 3. Glock stuck his nose in, then he sort of hesitated, then he went for it. Oh, Mario.
They'll see if they can bump start him after they get him pointed in the right direction. Perhaps get him back out for the last several laps. Tow rope there. Here it is again. Glock to the inside. Locked up the brakes, but there was contact. Just not enough room. Carbon fiber going away. Here it is again from the onboard.
And it doesn't look to me as if Glock is far enough alongside. Now, Glock's out of control. Glock is out of control. Was not close enough. Here it is again. Inside. Dominguez has the line right there. Glock hits him again. Gets away with it.
You can see the left front wheel on Glock's car was locked. The brake was locked.
That was a kamikaze move that Glock is lucky he got away with. And unfortunately for the Mexican crowd, there's the podium going up in smoke and broken fiberglass pieces. Wow, Glock needs a bodyguard to get out of here.
Their hero Dominguez in the rush runs in deck number 7, waving his hands. His afternoon may be over. We will see. They threw a rope to the 7 car. They were hoping to bump start him and get him going.
There's Mike Pawlowski. He is engineer for Mario Dominguez. With Paul Gentle as he looks on now, this is being reviewed. But in my opinion, it was a kamikaze move. There was nothing malicious about that, though. That is
hard racing.
Hard racing, an ill-advised move. I don't think he'd make it again. But there was nothing malicious. I don't think about that. Yandy, what do you think?
Well, think about the fact that Timo Glock has already been in trouble this weekend. He actually had to sit out the end of a practice session after running willpower off the racetrack in what our Tony Kottman described as a fit of anger. So he's already somewhat been put on the sidelines once this weekend. They may do it again.
Well, Mario Dominguez did get a bump start. He got pointed in the right direction. He is back on the throttle now in the in-deck car number 7, the Roche France machine. And Dominguez back trying to catch the pack and pack back up. Did not lose a lap according to timing and scoring, but he is shown at the back of the cars on the lead lap in 15.
Oh, yeah. Well, how disappointing is this for Roche France, for Mario Dominguez, for all the people here? Motor racing can be a roller coaster of emotions. We just saw it there.
Penthouse to the outhouse in less than a second. That's what happens.
But again, in my opinion, I do not think that was a malicious move. It was a kamikaze move. He wouldn't make it again. He was lucky to get away with it, but I don't think it was malicious.
We shall see. So far, no penalties have been assessed. The incident being reviewed by Tony Kottman, Champ Car's race director and vice president of operations. Race control located 1 floor below our location, right at the start-finish line. Huge crowd of fans, as always, at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. 59 laps are on the board. They'll take the green next time by. The lights are out on the Ford safety car. And we will see 10 laps to go when they get the restart next time around.
And it is Timo Glock who is now right behind the 2 Rousport cars of Wilson and Allmendinger. And remember what happened about 4 or 5 laps earlier. He said fastest lap of the race. So as we take another look at the incident, we will be mindful. Can Glock, in fact, now challenge the leaders? Here he is, down the inside. Inside, squeeze, hits him again. Goes on the grass, breaks part of his front wing. Here it is again.
Another look from the angle.
Right now he knows he's in trouble. He locks the brakes. Oh, he hits him right there.
That very dangerous situation where you put the wheel inside the other car's wheel.
Here you go. Now he hits the side pod. Boom. Breaks off a piece of bodywork. Hits the rear wheel. He was very lucky.
Keep going, Timo. Keep going.
Had the presence of mind to grab the gear and go through the grass and keep going. Now, is it a case of Dominguez not giving Glock enough room as he got alongside?
No, Dominguez had to turn in there. It was just an over-ambitious move, but not malicious.
Calvin Fish.
The good news for Dominguez, the safety crew were on the scene very quickly, got him bump started. He did not go down a lap. Spoke to the crew. They said there's some bodywork damage, but the suspension feels okay to Mario right now behind the wheel. He said the tires are good. Let's go down to Jan.
Well, with all this talk about Timo Glock and also Mario Dominguez, don't forget about the lead of the race, because A.J. Allmendinger had that chassis adjustment in the last pit stop. It certainly was going all Justin Wilson's way, but now it's a whole new race.
Wilson and Allmendinger will restart 1-2. Glock will restart third. Now, Derek, you mentioned, does Glock have enough? He's got plenty of power to pass, more than 2 minutes to use, but he's got a lapped car in his way. Omero Richards, who's running 16th in the Nextel car, he is third in the running order. Glock's got to get by him first.
I think he'll get by him fairly quickly. Omero Richards, interesting story. A man who had a brain tumor last December, and the doctors told him that he may not see the new year. He elected to go have the surgery, which was very delicate, and believe it or not, a brain tumor cut from his head. He was in a racing car 3 months later, and now he's under attack again from Glock.
10 laps to go. The green flag is out. Allmendinger chasing Wilson. Glock needs to get by Richards. There he is in the Nextel car. Glock with plenty of room on the power to pass button. And he will swoop by. He is third. No penalty assessed.
Oh, Allmendinger locks up trying to catch his teammate. Now, this is a straight fight. Can Glock reel in first Allmendinger? We know his car is fast and he's on reds, and Wilson is on the slower black Bridgestones.
A.J. Allmendinger would love nothing more but to take his first career Champ Car win here in the final race of 2005, his second season behind the wheel for the Rousport team.
Hey, boys, both Rousport cars are on the black Bridgestone Potenzas, and we have Glock on the faster reds. This now could get really interesting.
And behind them, Servia, the Pacific Air 2 car, is fourth. D'Amata is fifth. Bourdais up to sixth. Jimmy Vasser, perhaps his final start, in seventh spot in the Gulfstream Lola. Nelson Philippe, Paul Tracy has climbed to ninth in the Index car. Tagliani is 10th. Riding with Glock in third.
And look at the fight he has over those bumps, trying to hang on to those Rousport cars. The Rousport cars will have been told that Glock is on the softer, faster Bridgestone reds.
Well, Timo Glock has caught a break. The word from Tony Kottman is no penalty. It is a racing incident. Glock will not be penalized. He gets the race from third, the final laps here.
Good decision. Glad to hear that. But Timo Glock is in a great fight right now, Jan.
And unfortunately, the number that we have for the Cosworth power to pass is not accurate. There is a telemetry malfunction from Timo Glock's car. He may not have as much as shown on the monitor. The team doesn't know how much. It's a case if he presses it, he sees if it works or it doesn't. So the number we have on the screen is not correct.
So Glock is third, but he may not. Oh, and one car off. That's Tracy. The Index 3 car. Tracy ran out of road, went through the grass, trying to get by Rodolfo Levine. He's got dirty tires at the moment.
Wow.
Remember, Levine is 16th a lap down. That was in turn one. A couple of cars off the racetrack. Servia and D'Amata. Oriol Servia, is that Bourdais down there? We're being told it's Bourdais. They were battling for fifth. So the season champion, Sebastian Bourdais, full course yellow. There's been contact between the 2002 champion and the 2004 and 5 champion. Wow.
I don't know, but did Tracy run off the road to avoid these two boys banging off at each other?
Could have been.
Bourdais believes it's over. He is getting out of the car.
So Sebastian Bourdais' bid to win 7 races this year will go by the board. They will tow Cristiano D'Amata out on the racetrack. They'll try to bump start it. Full course yellow. Third time today.
Wow.
Second time in just a handful of laps. 8 to go. The pits are closed. Bourdais walks away. Here it is.
Oh, Tracy locks up.
Because he sees this in front of him? No, that was the incident where he went through. He was racing with Vasser at the time.
That all happened behind him, I think. Here it is here. Where are they?
Coming into the corner. Bourdais looked like got into D'Amata, going down into the inside, trying to pass him. And the two of them end up in the kitty litter.
And I think Tracy did take avoiding action. There is Bourdais. What a turn-up of events for the McDonald's team. Wow.
Last time Bourdais didn't see a checkered flag. How about 2 seasons ago? In 2003, Bourdais had completed all but 1 lap this year, his first DNF of 2005.
Wow, his third time to race here. There's the boys. Look, shaking their head, can't believe what happened. There's the cameras right side that films this reality show called Race Car Driver. Great show on WGN. Bourdais' dad's here.
Yeah.
His dad, Patrick, is here.
And the one car still mired in the kitty litter down there inside turns 1 and 2. Looked as though the situation was that Bourdais was trying to pass, trying to get by D'Amata. Got into D'Amata. They both went into the gravel, and that ends Bourdais' day. Take a look at the season that the McDonald's team has put together around Bourdais to win his 2nd straight championship. Won at Long Beach, then had the first half of the season where he had a 5th and 6th, couple of seconds. He was 5 of 6 in the second half of this year going to victory lane until today. So the McDonald's car will be towed in. Bourdais will be classified back in 15th.
But at the banquet later on tonight, he will receive the champion's prize.
The Vanderbilt Cup and the big check will go to Bourdais. Wilson the leader with 8 laps to go. Back-to-back championships for Newman Haas Racing. Paul Newman here as always to cheer his team on, but his championship driver Sebastian Bourdais will not be around at the finish. One more look, Derek.
Now Bourdais comes down the inside, locks his brakes, and does exactly to D'Amata what D'Amata did to Dominguez in Australia. Just plows right into the back of him and takes the two of them off the road. Bourdais was out of control right before he made contact with D'Amata. Calvin?
Well, D'Amato made a pit stop. He had a flat right tyre, and here you see the damage. I think right here is probably where Sebastien Bourdais' wing actually cut into D'Amato's tyre. Ultimately, it went down, and then he tore up the sidewall when he tried to get the car back to pit lane. Let's go back to Jan.
Calvin, sorry about that. And a case up Cosworth power to pass. Just check with Gentilozzi and, of course, Timo Glock's situation, and we know that that is inaccurate as to what was on the actual monitor itself. Well, it turns out they have no power to pass whatsoever, and they feel that not only the other numbers that we have as far as the other people ahead of them, Justin Wilson and A.J. Allmendinger, the computers have also locked up as far as what those numbers are. So we'll check individually, but we know Glock has none at all.
Okay, well, here may be the key. On the last timed lap, right before this yellow, Glock was 0.2 of a second faster than Wilson and A.J. Allmendinger, so this could be a real good shootout.
6 laps to go, getting ready for a restart here in Mexico City. Final handful of laps of the 2005 season. Wilson and Allmendinger 1 and 2. Glock restarting third, but he's got pressure from Serbia. Glock's got his hands full back there.
He got a terrible restart. Look at this. They fan out.
Tracy's there, too. That's Tracy in the Index 3 car. They both get by Glock.
They freight train him down the inside.
So Glock gets shuffled back to 5th, and who's third but Paul Tracy?
How did Paul Tracy get back up to a podium position?
I think it's a matter of what you don't normally associate with PT, patience on the racetrack.
There's Paul Gentilozzi. He cannot believe that Glock had such a poor restart, and they literally drove by him like a freight train down this front straight. Now, the chances of Glock having enough time to get back on the podium is pretty slim here, despite the speed of his car.
There'll be 5 laps to go next time by. If he is out of Cosworth power to pass, the other guys may have some. Indications we heard from Jan a moment ago that the computers may not have recycled properly. We may not have exact, accurate numbers for each team up front. So we're not certain who's got what left in the bank at this point. We know that Glock is out of power to pass time.
I would pretty sure Tracy and Serbia had some left, because that's the result of it right here. Look, right side of your screen, right side, Serbia, Tracy passes Serbia. Those two boys, I bet you, there's the light flashing. They were on the power to pass.
5th Tracy gets third in that exchange off the restart. Leader continues to be Wilson in the Intel machine. 2nd is Allmendinger. Tracy to 3rd. Cal, it's a great day now for Tracy.
It is here with Neil McWright. Neil, you had to convince Paul to stay in the car. He wanted to quit when he got that penalty. He's very unhappy. It's not over till it's over here.
No, and I think that obviously emotions run high. At one point I would have been quite happy for him to park it. He would have been then, but the thing is, we're here to race, and it isn't over until it's over. So we've got about 5 laps to go, and we're looking reasonably good right now.
We're unsure up and down pit lane with the telemetry who has any Cosworth power to pass left. What's your situation?
We have more left than anybody else. We don't have a lot, but we have about 40 seconds left.
All right, mate, we'll look forward to watching.
Okay, thanks.
And we'll see what happens. The indications are from our computer screens that Tracy has 49 seconds. It's just recycled. Glock's number is 0. It looks like Wilson has 41, Allmendinger 23. These may not be accurate. Tracy with 49. Now, last time around, PT was a 1.5 seconds behind Allmendinger. Can he do anything here in the last 5 laps, Derek?
Well, he'll definitely use this power to pass down this long straight. I don't know. With Wilson and Allmendinger still having that extra power boost, it's an uphill job. It's an uphill job for Tracy.
Serbia's right there in 4th. He is 2nd in the championship in 2005.
And they're all on the same tires except for Timo Glock.
Through the stadium corners, we're showing you what we believe to be the Cosworth power to pass numbers. Seconds remaining on that extra 50 horsepower, top of your screen. Now Glock, we're hearing, may have a little bit left in the bank as Rocket Sports continues to review their telemetry. And we'll see if Glock goes to the button here. He's right up behind Serbia for 4th.
I don't know. He doesn't look as if he has just that extra gear that gives you. We saw him earlier on use it, and he flew by Serbia down this long straight, but I don't think he has any more left.
Jimmy Vasser moves to 6th position in the Gulfstream Lola. You can see the red and white 12 car. There he is, just popping into your picture. Nelson Philippe, a very good run for Philippe today. He is 7th. Tagliani has worked his way to 8th. Andrew Ranger 9th. And how about rookie Will Power? His 2nd career start. He's looking at a top 10 in front of Michael McDowell.
One thing Glock does have is more grip. In the brake zones, he's just that bit later. As you turn into the apex, he's just that bit faster. But he cannot keep up with these boys down these long straights when they have the extra boost.
One of the great things about Champ Car racing to me, Derek, is how much variance you get in the race car over one of these 200-mile events. Now it looks as though Glock's got a bit of push in that car.
He's got a fight. That's what he has. Here's these S's. You gradually go up through the gearbox. 140. Oh, Servia stuck his wheel on the dirt.
That is a good way to lose a position here late in the going. There'll be 3 laps to go next time by. Working lap 67. And this may end up being a timed event. It's just on the cusp of that right now. We're about 5 seconds away from the 2-hour time limit. We may be able to get this to conclusion under green if there are no further incidents today. Wilson leads 2 seconds to the good over Allmendinger. Tracy is third, another 2 seconds back. This is the battle for fourth. Servia, Glock, and Vassar.
And Nelson Philippe is now 7th, tag for the first time solidly in that top 10. Look at the line of cars here down this straight.
Great drama late in the going here at Mexico City. Justin Wilson gunning for his 2nd victory of the season, 2nd career, and his teammate Allmendinger, they started 1-2. They're hoping to finish 1-2. Team owner Carl Russo celebrating a birthday here this weekend, and his 5-year-old son also celebrating a birthday here this weekend, so it could be a very big weekend for the Rousport team.
Glock still now has this man Servia in his sights. He at least wants to prove a point. He wants to use these faster Bridgestone Reds at least to try and get by Servia.
Servia and Glock fighting it out for 4th position. There's Paul Tracy. He has managed to work his way back to 3rd. Had that stop-and-go penalty, the black flag early in the day. Tracy in 3rd position, about 4 seconds by the leader. Cal, what's the word on pit road from their box?
Well, Neil Mickelwright is like a football coach here this afternoon. He's on the radio to Paul Tracy, just egging him on. He just told him, "You're my hero. You are a driving machine right now. Go for it."
Watching Justin Wilson in the Intel 9. He is your leader. There goes Allmendinger onto the front straightaway. 2 laps to go. 2 to go this time by.
Wilson just set fastest lap of the race at a 28.4. Allmendinger did a 29.2. That just proves beyond a shadow of a doubt Wilson is in control here. Tracy's fastest lap on that last go around, 30.0. He is losing a second a lap to Justin Wilson.
Tracy now needs to think about holding off Servia and ending up on the podium here today. Team owner Carl Russo of the Rousport team hoping for his 2nd career Champ Car victory here in Mexico City to close out 2005. Wilson has had his hands full at times today. Allmendinger was close behind him for quite a while. He gave up the lead during the first round of stops, and then that incident after Ronnie Bremer's mishap that had the long full course yellow develop. Wilson had to fight his way from 4th on that restart to get by Tracy and Rodolfo Levine.
It is, but this has been an awesome display by this team, led by this man, Carl Russo. It's not a new team, but it really is still regarded as a new team, but one of the new breed of team growing in Champ Car, and they have proven a point today that they can come and they can take on the best in the business, being Newman Haas. They can match them for speed, and today they matched them for strategy, race calls, mistake-free. They have executed.
White flag is in the air for Justin Wilson.
By a big chunk. Let's just bring her home, please.
1 to go in the 2005 Champ Car season.
How polite was that? Bring it home, please. What an awesome team. Technically led by David Brown. Very experienced man from Formula One. Had won world championships with Nigel Mansell. The Williams team moved over here last year. What a difference this has made, and just what a team, a well-gelled team this is.
Commercial support coming from Intel, from CDW, from Western Union. The whole thing starting to gain momentum now here at the end of 2005 for the Rousport team. Wilson on his way, but Derek, you think back to Portland. It was just past halfway when an oil pump gave up. Wilson, I'm sure, is hearing everything behind him, any possible noise that he's imagining he's hearing right now.
And that would be cruel. That would be cruel because he has been the man all weekend.
His teammate A.J. Allmendinger is 2nd, 4.2 seconds behind. Wilson not talking on the radio. He's about half a lap away. Heading toward the stadium corners.
16 times he started a Formula One Grand Prix, but he will tell you he loves his racing today more than at any other time in his career.
Final couple of corners for Justin Wilson out of England.
That's going to be the checker, Justin. Be cautious. There is a man on the racetrack with a checkered flag. Congratulations on your second win of the season. Great drive, great drive. That was really brilliant.
Champ Car's Jim Swinthal there to wave the checkered flag trackside for Justin Wilson. His second win of the year. And a 1-2 finish for Rousport. Third consecutive pole sitter to win here in Mexico City, joining Paul Tracy 2 years ago, Sebastian Bourdais in 2004. Wilson leads 66 of the 70 laps today. 3 lead changes. Only 2 leaders on the day, Wilson and Rodolfo Levine. 3 cautions for 9 laps. And Justin Wilson dominates and comes home with his second win of the season here in Mexico City. What a great capper to the year for the Rousport team.
And there is no magic to being successful in racing, but you must recognize the ingredients that you have to put in to make a racing car as fast and as reliable as they're now giving Wilson and AJ Allmendinger. But I think this was an awesome display of professionalism from this Rousport team, and if you think they're good this year, wait till you see how good they're going to be next year.
And this ends quite a dry spell for Justin Wilson. This is his first podium since a third in Montreal. That was a couple of months ago, so it's been a long time since the Rousport team had tasted this sort of success. Justin Wilson giving the huge crowd of fans here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez a big thumbs up. 66 of 70 laps in the lead today for Justin Wilson as the fans salute the drivers, their heroes here in Mexico City. Wilson with Paul Tracy, AJ Allmendinger in tow. Allmendinger gets second, Tracy ends up third. Servia finishes his second place championship season with a fourth place finish here in Mexico City. Timo Glock gets fifth in front of Jimmy Vasser, who is sixth. Nelson Philippe, a very good day for Philippe, in seventh in the Wellbox machine. Alex Tagliani comes home eighth in front of Andrew Ranger. Will Power gets a top 10 in his second career start. I think Power's a guy to watch in the future for Team Australia.
When they put him in a test in Portland, they just immediately knew he is on the power, he is the business. Look at Tracy smokes the tires. Lots of different storylines today, and they unfolded about every 15 laps. But the saddest man here is Mario Dominguez.
Dominguez and Cristiano Damata, who was taken out of that late race incident, bumping with Sebastian Bourdais. Damata was in the top 5. He ends up 14. We'll be back to talk to the winner. Justin Wilson receiving the congratulations, the honors in victory lane here in Mexico City. Wilson caps off the 2005 Champ Car World Series season with a dominating win at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez down the Ambicus.
And of course his teammate made it a Rousport 1-2. A great day for you, but just a moment ago, Paul Tracy and you, who had an altercation on the racetrack, also had an altercation here. What was that about?
PT's an idiot, you know. I hate to agree with Sebastian on anything, but I might have to agree with him on this one. You know, he's the dirtiest driver out here. You know, he messed up. He ran into Rodolfo, and he just drove me straight into the grass to hold me off, you know. And I don't know if that did anything to my race. I don't know if I could have got Justin, but, you know, all from there on, I was just having to chase him down. And, you know, the Bridgestone tires were great, but, you know, if you ran them too hard, you were going to abuse them. And I just had to run too hard to try to get around him, to try to catch Justin. And from then on, it was just a catching game.
All right, well, thank you, AJ. Congratulations on the Rousport 1-2.
Now the drama
Calvin?
in that, of course. Let's hear from Calvin Fish.
Okay, down here with PT. Great drive, Paul, coming from the back twice, but AJ is pretty angry right now. Well, how do you read the situation?
He probably has a right to be. I blocked him pretty hard, and you know, it was a shame what happened because I was faster than Rodolfo. I was catching him 2 seconds a lap. And, you know, I got by him on this restart, and then he dive bombed me. We touched. He got a flat. It screwed my exit up, and AJ was coming, and I said, shit, I'm not letting him go by. And I blocked him hard. So, you know, I ended up getting a penalty. You know, probably I deserved the penalty. And, you know, we had to come from the back twice. So, you know, we had the fastest car out there. It just didn't have any luck today.
All right, Paul, thanks very much. Let's go over to Jan.
And with our race winner, Justin Wilson, amazing day for you. You have to bring your shareholders more often. Every time they come, you're at the top of the podium. Tell us, in the middle of the race, you had a very tight moment. I believe it was Paul Tracy, Rodolfo Levine, and you had to thread the needle.
Yeah, they went side by side into the corner. Paul got ahead and Rodolfo dived back down inside. It was a great move, but they both went straight on at the next corner, and they trying to throw it away. So I just hung back and got the run out the corner.
And other than that moment, was it clear sailing for you?
Yeah, pretty much. Once we got through the first corner, it got tight. Myself and AJ, we both went in pretty hot, and I locked the fronts, and it was a sign of things to come that I couldn't get the car to turn. So that was close, but that first stint was tricky. Just had to hang on there and wait till we could change something in the pits. And the Roost Sport number 9 with Intel have done a great job all weekend. We managed to change it in that pit stop and make it better, and we just got quicker and quicker as the day went on.
Congratulations, a great way to finish the season.
Thank you.
A dominant run for Justin Wilson, 66 laps led, the most of any driver this season. His second win. He's the third repeat winner in Champ Car this year. Wilson defeats Allmendinger. Tracy runs third in front of Serbia and Glock. Vassar gets sixth, and Will Power, the rookie from Australia, his second career start, he comes home with a top 10. We'll come back to wrap up the season right after this.